Okay, so this is going to be my review of the current Punisher series, the Standard series, not Max. Issues 1 through 12, the annual, and the list. I had actually been reading this book up until issue 7. I forget exactly what happened. As I recall, I think my comic shop started selling out of issues and just because they were ordering so few. And I really just didn't go out of my way to get the books, so I didn't really drop the book by choice, but anyways, I actually had the opportunity over at a friend's house to sit down and read everyone I was missing, and I figured I'd do review on them. This Punisher series goes in. I'll say this: it handles the Punisher series in the way I think it should be handled. Because you go back to Fraction's run, and it's just like, well, he's in the same universe, but he's really out on his own, and he's got access to all these cool weapons that you only see him use standard guns. And this, he comes across like a stash of superhero weapons. Like he's got Daredevil's cane, he's got Iron Man's repulsor gauntlet, he's got like Hank Pym's Ant-Man helmet. He has what seems to be Captain America's shield. I'm not 100% on that, but that's actually real. I mean, it's not like he's constantly using these. He uses regular guns as well, but it's always nice to see those. So anyways, the whole point of this is that he set out to kill Norman Osborn, and that covers roughly about the first 6, and then you get into this whole storyline with the Hood, where they bring back in Micro. And if you didn't know, apparently Max is canon because they bring up that Punisher has killed Micro, like he did in the first arc of Max. And the Hood has apparently resurrected him, and he's offering Frank the deal. Stop going after Osborn. I'll resurrect your family. And you really it's not it's not a bad run. It didn't really impress me, but at the same time you really get this look into Frank that you don't before. Like maybe he wouldn't even want his family back if he could, because he just thinks he wouldn't be able to face them as what he's become. This monster among people. You know what, screwed it? The Hood storyline really did impress me. I gotta say that. I don't know, it didn't amaze me, but it impressed me. I definitely liked it. Sadly, I had to drop off on one of the points. Around issue 7. I think that runs through 10. Then you get to the list, where Dark Wolverine, or Daken, I think, something along those lines. I'm sorry, I haven't seen Wolverine's son pop up in much. I was told he wounded the Punisher. From what I had heard, one of my friends read the book. He's like, he just wounds him. He kills Frank. There is no way around it. Frank is literally in pieces. He is dead. And then the Moloids steal his corpse. And then you get into Frankencastle. I had no idea. This is really what killed my interest in the book. So I heard about this. I think Blows Himself Up dude told me when Marvel had first put the ad on there about it, and I was like, I'm definitely not going to pick up the series now. I don't understand it, because they had such a good thing going. Like, I thought they had finally found Punisher's little niche in the Marvel Universe. Like, this is where he belongs. There's a lot of superhero stuff going on, but there's also a lot of, down-to-earth crime stuff going on. There was a lot of badass fight scenes between him and police, and how he was, like, outsmarting the Sentry and things like that. And I don't understand why they made this jump. Because the whole point is, like, there's a whole island of monsters. And, like, Morbius is there. Although it's a really different styling of Morbius. Like, he's in a trench coat. I mean, not a trench coat. He's in, like, a lab coat. And he's the one that patches Frank back together. And he's giving him these pills to keep him sane. Then there's Werewolf by Night, who's much bigger than I remember him being. Man-Thing, who is one of my personal favorite Marvel monsters. So I'm glad he's in there. And just a handful of others. And they bring him back to life, and they're like, hey, we want you to help us beat these guys that are tracking us, trying to kill us. And he refuses. And then one of the little Moloid creatures that was nice to him gets killed, and that is the end of the arc so far. One second here. Sorry about that. Anyways, Frankencastle really hasn't gone far enough for me to have an opinion on it. 2 issues so far. I mean, it's not bad, but I'm just like, what the hell? I mean, it's definitely different than anything Punisher we've seen so far, but I just couldn't understand why they would do this. I mean, Frank is dead. I don't know if there's a way that they can bring him back. I would assume so, because it seems like they never leave anyone dead. I just really don't know. I'd say overall, if you're a Punisher fan, this definitely warrants picking up in trade, which is probably what I'll end up doing if I can't get the single issues back. Um, it's not the most amazing book ever, but it is a good book. I will say this: I really love what they did because Punisher gets like a new little tech sidekick, kind of like a second Micro. And when you find out his origin story, I won't spoil it, but his origin story is really, really good. And they kind of hint in the list that he's going to come back in eventually. So I really can't wait to see where they go with him. So that being said, it's a good book. It's not amazing, but if you're a Punisher fan, I do think you should be reading it. This is J Train saying I'll see you soon, YouTube.